Hey, this is Pablo with Meditation Amsterdam. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how unconscious sensations in the body trigger trains of thought. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you think the content is cool. And now, without further ado, we get on with the show. So, this is actually quite a topic that has been coming up in my latest conversations. I have a little Sunday meditation group, and a friend of mine asked during the session, or rather after the session, is it so that thought is always triggered by body sensation? Now, it's sort of true and not true. There's a part of the brain called the default network, which gets to work whenever there's no task at hand. But many of our thoughts are indeed triggered by unconscious sensations in the body. So I want you to think of it as, so we're going to have an individual here, right? And we're going to compare it to a glass of fizzy water. So this glass contains fizzy water. Now, if you've ever seen a glass when you fill it with soda, what you'll notice is that even though all the bubbles are happening over here, and they're bursting here at the surface, if you start to look closely, I used to do this as a kid and I used to love trying to figure it out, is you see that the bubbles are coming from the bottom, right? So there's these little invisible places where the water is fizzing from, and it starts to fizz, and the bubbles are coming from these invisible places and then rising to the top. Normally, we are as individuals noticing the thought activity in our mind. Yeah. So here we are thinking of a tree, for example. But what we are not so good at noticing is the way thoughts are born. And during the meditation last Sunday, I was inviting people to simply stay aware of their body sensations. And whenever you were being lost in thought, to notice if that thought was being triggered because of a desire to somehow escape the now, to disassociate from the now. And the now has a certain uncomfortable flavor to it. Whenever there are uncomfortable sensations taking place in the body, that's what makes the now uncomfortable. That's what makes anything uncomfortable and uncomfortable. It's sensations in the body. So sensations in the body are the ones that create cravings for certain things and aversion to certain others. We don't really mind what happens other than how it feels to us. So if you can imagine for a moment that your body lost all its feeling and you were looking out at reality, you would very quickly become totally detached from what happens. You really wouldn't mind, because what's it to you? It's like looking at a fully immersive movie, but you're not invested in it because it doesn't feel like anything, right? So positive events feel like nothing, negative events feel like nothing in the body, and therefore you would stop caring altogether. So that means bodily sensation is the entry point to whatever triggers us to start escaping from the now and imagining a better reality or thinking of ways to improve the way things are going. Therefore, what we're looking for, if we want to find the source of, especially if it is overthinking or recurring thoughts, whenever you have recurring thoughts and these sort of hang-ups and things that you can't get over or whatever, instead of trying to tackle them here at the source of the thinking itself and fight with the thoughts and trying to drive them in a different direction that is more positive, what you want to do is go, wait, I see the bubble. but where is it bubbling from? And then you follow that, and you will find that the source of the bubble sits somewhere in your body, very typically along the central channel, either in your throat, the heart area, the pit of your stomach, or the belly, or the hips. And having identified it, all you need to do is observe it, breathe into it, relax into it, and let it be. So part of the challenge, of course, is that thought is very hypnotic. So it takes energy and practice to be able to notice that you are lost in a recurring train of thought. Thought is not only hypnotic, it pretends to be you. And it pretends, because it's energized by emotion, see, that's what makes it relevant in the first place. It pretends that it is very important that you figure out whatever it is that you're thinking about. Whereas in reality, what is important is to be neutral to the outcome by neutralizing the sensation in the body and then being able to think more clearly about the situation. So that's the video for today. It's a little analogy. It's about how if we compare thinking activity to a glass of sparkling water, we are typically caught by the bubbles at the top, all this activity of thought going on at the top. But here at the bottom lies the core and the source of it, which is the sensation in the body. And it is typically happening outside of our view. So we have to make a little bit of effort to go from thought to the source of the thought. There is such thing as just healthy thoughts, or what you could call planning and execution. So totally fine. But the thoughts that we're talking about here is this typical overthinking and emotionally energized trains of thought that are self-referential and which keep coming back, and we keep analyzing the same thing and never getting to the bottom of it. And the reason for that is that it's simply energized by a emotion in the body that is outside of our view. So that's today's video. I hope it helps, and I'll be back with more. And once again, do like and subscribe. Cheerio.